Hello everyone, just a quick word from your friendly editor/husband. For all of you who listen to So I'm Watching This Show and own an Android device, do me a favor. Go to the Google Play Store and download the Podcast Republic app. It's a fantastic app that allows you to get all of your favorite podcasts directly on your Android devices. I use the app and love it. I can search for the podcasts I want to listen to, select them as favorites, and have them all just a click away. Make sure you set So I'm Watching the Show as a favorite so you don't miss any new episodes. Again, the app is Podcast Republic, available on your Android device. Thanks!
This feels like it could either go too long or it could be putting you crazy on the spot. But I was going to say, did you have anything that you wanted to say, or did you have a story about your mom or something?
Oh, God. That is a little on the spot. Lately, I have been thinking about this one trip we took to New York City before my senior year of college, because it was like the last vacation that I was going to have. And we took the bus from Chinatown to Chinatown because we were living in DC at the time. And I have been thinking about it a lot because I went and looked at those pictures, that one picture that you like so much, where I'm like bent over the bed, like backwards, because I had like stretched a muscle wrong at the gym and it was the only way I could breathe properly. But the reason I've been thinking about it so much is because my mom on the trip, on like the bus ride, was doing this, like, I don't know how it's very stereotypical Italian voice.
You've told me this before.
She named him Puccelli. And so I've been thinking, I feel like we must have had like Italian sandwiches or something, and that's why she kept saying it. Or maybe she was talking about going to get Italian food or something. So she just kept putting on this really aggressive Italian accent and saying that her name was Puccelli and she was going to give me Italian food. And that was a fun memory.
Yeah, that's one of those things that it's like she wasn't like that. Like, I feel like your mom was very, I'll go with reserved.
Well,
but
not in private.
Yeah, but once you got to know her, she would be sillier. It was I'm a Puccelli.
but like the whole ride. And I obviously had that pain in my chest and I couldn't laugh. And so she just kept doing it to make me laugh. And it was ridiculous.
Oh, man. I miss your mom.
Yeah, same.
I don't have, like, being as I'm the one that started it, I don't have a specific thing for my mom that I'm thinking about. I talk about her all the time, though. I spend so much time with her.
Have we posted a photo of her? Her hair is purple now. Teresa is killing it lately. She's doing good.
Yeah. No, I don't. Honestly, the first one, it's not like a long memory or like a good memory, but the honest to God, the first thing that popped into my mind, it's so funny that I like thought of this, but I didn't even think that I would have to do it. But it was one time when I was sick and she was doing laundry. I was like in her room in her bed and she was doing laundry and she was carrying the like biggest load of laundry. Like she had it all in her hands and she couldn't see. And she was walking and Daly was laying on the floor.
No.
And she like stepped on him and he like went to get up and she just didn't want to hurt him. And so since she was holding the laundry, it was like timber. She just fell straight forward and then just body slammed the ground.
That's hilarious.
And Daly yelped and ran and stuff. And
I was going to say, that's like a solid 20 years ago, too.
Yeah, so. She realized, like, as it was happening, that since she had the laundry, she could handle the fall.
It would break her fall.
But I think she was bruised pretty badly. I think she got kind of hurt, but...
That is so funny.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristin.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show. On today's episode, we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about the Netflix movie Dumplin, because we meant to get around to it when it came out, and it just never did. And
especially because we both really like Jennifer Aniston and Dolly Parton.
Yeah. And we're also going to talk about the movie Brave. You've wanted me to watch that for a while. And we just didn't think we had enough to say about either of them individually, so we decided to do them both and do a little Mother's Day episode. So
that's right.
Ta-da! That was awkward. I kind of wish I had finished the story first and then gone ahead and introduced the...
Well, it's too late now.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what my issue is, like, a year and a half in and something. I'm like, what? I need my 2 mugs back? Like... But, no, the picture of you, do you remember for a long time on my MySpace, I had a heroes section?
Yes, I do.
And
I
for
do indeed.
a long time, it was Joel McHale, and it was that picture of him with his, I don't know if I'm saying it like people know, but he was making fun of Heidi Montag's Higher video.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
he, like, tied his shirt up in a knot, so his, like, stomach was exposed.
Yep.
And he was, like, dancing around with a sign that just said more boobs.
Yeah.
And so I had that picture. And then it was that picture of you slung over the bed. It was a picture of my friend Jack sitting on the toilet drinking a pitcher of beer. It was a picture of Jen with a statue of a dinosaur where she was picking its nose.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there was another one. Those are the 3 I remember right now. But it was just like these really unflattering pictures of my best friends. And that was in my hero section. So...
I mean, it's solid. I'm also wearing that boob shirt that I wore for like 6 years.
But you're upside down. So it's
Yeah.
like... But anyways, so there's like a mosquito that has been following me around all day.
Yeah, I've got one in here too.
Okay. So anyways, okay. Starting with Dumplin, what did you think?
I liked it. It was not quite as much as I wanted it to be, I guess, but I thought
Not
it was
as
great.
much.
I guess there was a lot of hype that I saw about it, and so I was expecting something like revolutionary.
Oh.
And it wasn't 100% that, but I liked it. It was super cute.
I had the opposite reaction. I thought it was way better than a lot of the stuff I had seen.
Oh, all right.
We had already kind of committed to doing this, but as we were watching it, I looked at you and I was like, I kind of wish we had paired this with Drop Dead Gorgeous, because I feel like I'm going to go in more of a pageant direction than like a
Mother's Day. Yeah, no, I get it.
direction, but...
this is not even remotely similar in tone or content to Drop Dead Gorgeous.
No. Just the pageantry.
Just the pageant, yeah.
I was very surprised. We talk a lot about Netflix, and we love Netflix, for the most part.
Currently, we're a little butthurt that they canceled Santa Clarita Diet.
We got news this morning about, I got news last night. You scared the ever-loving shit out of me.
Sorry.
It was like the middle of the night, and I had headphones on, and you just were in front of me all of a sudden.
I am La Llorona.
Well, you did everything you could or should have, because you were very like slowly, like very cautiously approaching from the side. But
I was trying.
It was like that time that I was like trying to get your attention when you were blow drying your hair.
Yes.
And I could tell that I was sneaking up on you, so I just started clapping because I wanted to give you a reason to like look around.
Yeah.
And you thought your hairdryer was malfunctioning.
Yeah.
So you turned
and then you scared me as bad as you possibly could have anyway.
Because you turned the hairdryer off and suddenly I was behind you and you were like... Oh, this is a messy episode.
Happy Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm. We're not even drinking, God.
No, it's 3:45 in the afternoon.
If we were
because
drunk,
we're not
it would be
drinking.
fine. Yeah. We're mad at Netflix for canceling Santa Clarita Diet. It could not have been expensive. Regardless. I really like Netflix, and I think it produces really quality content, but even still, I'll be surprised sometimes. Like, I think there's a part of me that still slightly expects a straight to, like, a VOD type of situation.
And I mean, some of the stuff is that, but it's like... I feel, and this is the reason why I do love Netflix, because I think their movies hit more than they miss, and I think their series miss more than they hit. But I like the movies that they get because I think the reason that so many of them hit is because they are serving underserved demographics, and the people who make the movies are really very intensely devoted to the content, and Netflix is also devoted to just like getting content out there that I feel like they won't make the creator compromise their vision.
Well, and also that's very true. And also this is a thing that we've, chronicled a little bit in the year and a half that we've been doing this, but there's kind of a thing, we think a bad thing happening with the movie industry right now, where everything has to be huge. Every studio is trying to get the next big thing. And so it's very all or nothing. And they're having, mixed results, to put it generously.
Right, which is why I'm so excited for something coming out like Booksmart.
Mm-hmm.
which is like kind of like a small thing, and why we liked Lady Bird in 8th grade and stuff. We like these smaller movies so much. That doesn't mean, I mean, we literally just recorded 2 hours about the Avengers. Obviously, we love that too.
That's an entirely different beast, but
yeah, it's like there needs to be diversity and like a wide variety of content, and I feel like that's what Netflix is really good at, is getting everybody's niche.
And it's also, as you already mentioned, it's also quality, because a lot of times, like, the movies out there are either giant tentpole shared universe, like, next big thing blockbuster summer movies, or kind of crap.
Yeah.
Like, there's not really, the mid-tier movie doesn't exist anymore. And this is probably not even, it's probably a mid-tier movie. I was impressed by it, well, especially by the end when we got to the pageant. I was like, oh, they actually spent some money on this in a way that I was surprised by. But I thought it was very, very quality. And I was also impressed with how much story we got.
Yeah, I agree. I'm absolutely not saying I didn't like it. I was just sort of, it was nicer than it was spectacular to me, which is great. I like nice things.
Well, the synopsis on Google, when you Google it, it just says, the plus-sized teenage daughter of a former beauty queen signs up for her mom's pageant as a protest escalates when other contestants follow in her footsteps, revolutionizing the pageant and their small Texas town. So there were a few things happening in the movie that kind of surprised me. I wasn't quite expecting the cast of characters that we got.
Well, I knew that Bex was in it, but that's the only one I knew about.
Obviously, I mean, I knew it was going to be about like a mother-daughter relationship, and it was, but I was surprised by the friendship elements and even the pageant stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it did a really good job. We're obviously supposed to be on Willadine's side. They call her Will in the movie. And I enjoy that the movie wasn't quite as one-sided as it could have been, because this is a thing, you know, that we talk about a lot with these types of stories, but it's not so much that there was a hero and a villain. It's more that, you know, these two people weren't really communicating with each other, weren't actually sharing their lives, and they also weren't really trying. They weren't trying to understand the other one. Yeah,
no, I totally agree with that. And the fact that it was a mother and daughter just sort of lends itself to the theme today.
Well, and for them to be so different, and Willadine is a heavier girl. I mean, the synopsis says plus-size girl, and because this is a difficult subject matter, it's not difficult, but it's slightly uncommon. It's more uncommon than it should be. And, you know, you're straddling this line where you're trying to do something authentic, and you're trying to, you know, really say something, but not trying to be preachy. You're trying to be realistic, but you're also trying to be inspiring and stuff. And I like that the message ultimately was something that we say a lot, where it's like, it's not about being a certain kind of person. It's about being the best version of yourself that you can be.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I really enjoyed that. I liked how it kind of showed that in a lot of ways that this sort of thing can be internalized. This sort of like guilt and or shame can be internalized in a way that Willadine in many ways was doing it to herself.
Right.
You know, there were several people that were outwardly antagonistic, but I was really surprised and impressed that the movie resisted the urge to treat the other girls as antagonists.
Yeah, I really liked that too. None, it was only dudes calling her and Millie fat. No girls were like mean about it.
One of them was kind of judgy, but she just seemed like a bitch. She just seemed like a bitchy girl. But
and I mean, there's a difference between a judgy bitch and like bullying the fat girls, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, they resisted the urge to make Becca? Dove Cameron?
Yeah.
Yeah, they resisted the urge to make her not only an antagonist, but she didn't overwhelm the story in this way. To the point where, you know, full spoilers for this 5-month-old Netflix movie, but she does win, which is to be expected.
Right.
And we don't even really see it. We cut away from it.
No, it was great. I thought it was like really funny because it was like nobody believed she wasn't going to win, but it's like the fact that it doesn't even matter at that point is great.
Yeah, this movie has probably one of the greatest characters I have seen in recent memory. And it is Millie.
Mm-hmm. Is she up with you with Melissa Rauch from Ode to Joy? She felt very in that same vein to me.
Well, I was pretty convinced through most of the movie that she was going to win.
I thought she might too.
And I really liked that it resisted the urge to go full indulgent in that regard, because that can get into this like sort of patronizing thing.
Right, the fact that she got second place, but she also kind of came at it like a dark horse and got second place. I like that feels more
and
empowering.
The reaction she got was and because that's the thing is it's like Millie is the other fat girl, and that was also that felt weirdly revolutionizing to me.
Two fat girls in one movie.
Two different fat girls in one movie, you know? And there's a comment made in the beginning of the movie where Willadine is like, it's like she doesn't even know she's fat. Mm-hmm. And then Elle was like, I just don't think she cares.
Yeah.
Like, and she just, I mean, we see her get bullied a handful of times, but it's sort of like water off her back. And it's like, I was going to say you really get the impression that her mother loved her, you know, and not to imply that Jennifer Aniston didn't love Willadine, but
they had a different relationship, Millie and her mother. Played by Kathy Najimy.
Yeah, by the time we got there, it had its things too. So I'm not entirely sure where Millie's blind confidence came from, but she just wanted to be good, and that's the thing, because it's like with pageant stories. What's your take on pageants?
I am mixed on pageants. I guess I'm probably a little bit more of a Bex in this situation. Mm-hmm. I think they're kind of pointless, and I think they're sort of a holdover from a more patriarchal time. On the other hand, I don't think they're hurting groups of people. I think people take them too seriously, and it hurts individual people who try too hard and, you know, develop all kinds of complexes and eating disorders and stuff. But I think as a whole, they're mostly harmless. I just wish we didn't have to anymore.
I guess I wish it could go more in a Girl Scouts direction.
Or that, sure. The Girl Scouts are great.
Because there are plenty of good things to be said about them, and this movie does a good job of exploring it, you know? Mm-hmm. I was kind of irritated with Willadine for the beginning of the movie, because her attitude about all of it was just, and we're supposed to be on her side, and to an extent we are, but I just thought, you're not even really trying, though. Yeah. Like, you're not even actually playing this game at all. And it just, like, it was Texas, which that, I think, bears noting.
Yeah.
I have a very close friend who did pageants, and she isn't the kind, she's not awful. She's one of the better people that I know. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to remember, because I remember when she got into it, we were like well into high school. Like,
can you say who it is?
It was Ashley.
Oh, right. Okay.
There was something about it. She was going at it more of like an excellence thing.
Okay.
Than like a superficiality thing.
Well, that's the thing. You know, they say it in so many. What is it? Miscongeniality, mm-hmm. when they're like, it's a scholarship program, and I just am like, I mean, that's fine if it's a scholarship program, but it still is. I just feel like it kind of engenders meanness.
Yeah, it's very difficult, and it is so coded. Like, it is so completely feminizing and like a certain type of like you said, patriarchal mm-hmm. femininity and stuff, in a way that, like, I mean, boys competitions traditionally for males are very gendered too.
Yeah, it's about like physical prowess.
Yeah, but I feel. I think athleticism or a lot of the sports is just as damaging. So I don't know. We're very much if you want to do it, if it's for you, then do it. If it makes you happy, if it's like bringing good things, then absolutely. And by the end of this movie, that's what the pageant appeared to be.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. It really does. Like, at the beginning, Willadine doesn't seem to care at all, but by the end of it, she has gained so much confidence just from like doing this fun thing with her friends and meeting a couple of drag queens that do Dolly Parton that it's just like that's I think what pageants want to be, is like a way to make girls confident and, you know, like comfortable with themselves and be able to get up and make a speech in front of a crowd and stuff like that. And in those respects, I think they do good work, but it's all the insidious backstage stuff where it's like,
exactly.
You're only drinking green juice so you can fit into your bathing suit.
Well, and the weird gatekeeping other women can do, and like the standards and stuff. And it's kind of thing that's like in an ideal world, I wish it really was the positives and not the negatives, but more often than not, I think it's reversed. I think it's more negative than positive. And
well, more often than not, Donald Trump owns your pageant, so where do you think it's coming from? That's not coming from a positive place.
Didn't they get rid of the swimsuit competition?
It's called, like, fitness and something now, but it's still a bathing suit. Or it's, like, athletic, some kind of athletic wear.
God, Millie, I could do a whole episode just on Millie. She was so funny with
so good.
She had 3 talents. It was singing, tap dancing, and hula hooping, and so she just did them all.
Yeah.
By the time the actual pageant came around, she pared it down to just the singing. But even the gospel stuff, it's like or it wasn't gospel. It was like gospel is an art form. It was like Christian contemporary.
Yeah.
But even that, I mean, she did it well, and they treat, because I rolled my eyes when she said Hillsong, because I have a past with Hillsong United. Do you remember?
I do, yeah, because you were like, this song fucking bangs, and then you realized.
I loved it, and then I was like, they've said Savior too many times, and I was like, wait a minute. It's the Maria Bamford where she's like, I wouldn't get mad, but you have tried to trick me before.
Yeah.
Like, it's the tricking you part that I resent. There was really a lot happening in the movie because, Willie Dean had this relationship with her aunt, Lucy, who died. They didn't say what happened, right?
Well, they didn't say what happened, but Jennifer Aniston did say something about if she'd taken better care of herself, she might still be here. So I assumed it was like a heart attack or something.
Lucy was
weight
heavy
related
in a way Rosie wasn't. And the dynamic between these 3 women, I totally get that losing Lucy is the point, but part of me was interested in seeing a little bit more of that, because the impression I got was that Lucy was more Willie Dean's mother, while Rosie was having to provide.
Yeah.
And when Willie Dean didn't fit immediately and perfectly into Rosie's mold, there was a disconnect.
Yeah.
And I think from both of them. I don't think it was because at no point, I mean, Rosie was an interesting character because she was kind of callous, but she wasn't like a bad mom. Do you know what I mean? She wasn't thoughtful.
She was more like a dad.
Sure. And there's the scene where Willie Dean is trying to join the pageant, and I thought, oh no, they're going to make Rosie awful. Like, they're going to make her a villain.
Yeah.
And we really flirted with it, and then we just didn't. They just resisted the urge.
She wasn't a villain, but she was, that kind of mom. But I did get her side where she was like, if you're trying to make a mockery of this pageant, and
but
she was
takes
like,
very seriously.
Yeah, she was like, I'm not, but and I we honestly did lose the like revolution aspect of it relatively quickly too. But I don't know. I can definitely see both sides, but I think it's easier to be mad at Rosie because she was the adult in the situation. Mm-hmm. She allowed her daughter to drift away in a way that Willow Dean probably just was like, Lucy, I have fun with Lucy, I don't have fun with my mom.
Well, and there was also probably resentment. I mean, that Rosie's sister had this connection with her daughter that she didn't have. And, we haven't mentioned Dolly yet, which feels like a sin, but you mentioned Dolly in the top of the episode, but I love Dolly Parton so much. They say her name 472 times in this movie.
Yeah, a lot.
It's fine. Because Dolly she's a perfect sort of like example for this reality, because she sort of is both the radical self-love and the pageant stuff, that meet in the middle. And that's probably the one thing is I kind of have a hard time believing Rosie didn't get Dolly. But
it feels weird to me too, because presumably they were raised by the same mother, and like how that didn't pass down to both of them is sort of wild. But
and also because you called foul on Bo not knowing who Dolly was.
There's no way. I mean, I can believe not being a fan. That's
or
fine.
Not knowing a lot about her.
But if you've never heard of Dolly Parton, have you been living under a rock? She's ubiquitous.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she has written or composed over 3,000 songs.
Also, you cannot tell me that that boy did not watch Hannah Montana, and she played Miley Cyrus's grandma, so...
It was probably on. He's... Okay. I love him. We both love him, but his name is Luke Binward. He's the cutest thing in the world. He was in Life of the Party last year, that Melissa McCarthy movie. I was so happy to see him in this, and I want to see him in more. He's just the cutest thing.
He's got like 3 things coming up, so...
Okay. He also felt like maybe a step, not too far, but in a movie with a lot of things happening, that was also a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I think it could have, that maybe, I mean, I don't think the movie needed to benefit from anything, but it might have been better if we had used the bow time to instead do more with the girls' relationships.
Yeah.
Because while it was cute, I also didn't really care.
Or even the mother-daughter stuff. I mean, maybe I'm putting that focus on it because of our episode, but it's like, this is difficult because I want to reference Brave and it hasn't happened yet. But we're recording this out of order.
We can explain.
So we've already recorded the Brave part of this episode. And
right.
I think a lot of times these types of movies just trust you to be able to fill in blanks. And we can. You know, we don't really need it. But that's the stuff that I think actually is fascinating, is the minutia of it, the exploration of, you know, where exactly these relationships go wrong, and more of a showing instead of telling. And so it's like, I could have used either some more of the girls or even another scene or two with Willadine and Rosie.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But the ones that we got were very good. And there is that line where Willadine's mad at Rosie, and Rosie just says that, you know, like, I couldn't come to your tea parties. I had to work. And there was one specific scene where she's dressed in something that I was like... It was
scrubs. She was wearing scrubs.
It was scrubs, but it, like, didn't register to me that it was scrubs at first. And I thought, that outfit is wildly out of character for this character that I just met 20 minutes ago. And I was like, oh, right, she's at work.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, there's a point, like, I think they might have even been able to explore this a little bit more, where it was like, for me, there's an element of, like, yikes about Rosie. Like, oof, you know, and that's something Drop Dead Gorgeous sort of explores, but it's like, you peaked at 17.
Yeah, I think that is the other thing, the issue that I have with pageants, and on the, you know, male side, like physical sports and stuff, where it's like, you are peaking so early that it's like, if you would only focus on your brain a little bit more, maybe it would help you out later in life, and that wouldn't be such an issue. But, yeah. I mean, they seemed like they were in good shape, you know? Willowdean had her own car, and it seemed like they were a single-parent household, so... Yeah,
but money was tight. I mean, that was made clear, but it just, like, I don't know. It was very good. I really did enjoy it, and especially for something that, you know, was just on Netflix, that we just put on, you know, that we had been meaning to get around to, and then we did. I do think Jennifer Aniston is a particularly gifted comedic actress.
I think she's gifted in general, because you still haven't seen The Good Girl.
No.
And I think that's absolutely one of her best performances, and I feel like it gets looked over because she just is known for comedy, but I think she's very good at drama when she wants to be.
Mm-hmm. I still think she's not a chameleon. She does sort of a specific thing, and she does it very well. And it's also nice to see her sort of, like, I mean, this is... I was going to say it's nice gracefully. To see her aging gracefully. Yeah.
She's doing it. She's doing just fine. She looks great. Her tits were on point in this movie.
Well, also, it was a very fun role for Harold Perrineau, who we used to think we didn't like, but I guess we might like him. I guess we just maybe didn't like specific roles.
I don't like Michael on Lost because I think he sucks ass.
Yeah. But we like him on Claws, and he was good. And we didn't even realize, like, we were like 2 hours into the movie by the time I was like, "Is that Harold Perrineau?" And you're like, "I was wondering."
he had like 4 scenes at that point, and I was at first I was like, "That must be Harold Perrineau," and then I was like, "No, it can't be." And then you finally were like, "That's Harold Perrineau," and I was like, "Fuck, is it? I thought so."
Well, he was one of the drag queens. That was weird too. All of these people in Texas that were at these drag queens that were at a biker bar.
Yeah,
but. I don't know. Sure. Why not?
I'll allow it.
But his name was rearranged
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good.
One of them was apparently called Candy Dish.
So, yeah, is there anything else you wanted to say, or?
I don't have anything else really to say about Dumplin specifically. I think it's a great movie for all the time, but I think it's an especially great movie for Mother's Day time.
Yeah, it's good mothers, daughters, female friends.
Yeah.
Any girl power, that kind of thing. There was a quote that I did write down, and it was from Dolly herself, but she said the greatest friends have nothing and everything in common all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is so completely true.
Yeah.
That, it's like my three best friends, it's like the ways we're different and the ways we're the same. It's like wild.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's pretty crazy, especially that the thing that we always say that I like the best is whenever we like start a new TV show, we like pick out the dudes that we like, and they are never the same.
It's same taste in booze, different taste in men.
Yeah.
And because we're like that.
You lost me with the Campari, so
we have gin, it's fine.
We do have gin, it's good.
No, it's the kind of thing, because that's something I would do with Jen, where we would always, it's not only boys, we would pick like just memes and stuff, or like pictures, and it would be like, and this was especially true in the 2000s, but it was like, I'm Paris Hilton and she's Nicole Richie,
Sure.
Or it's like, I'm Victoria Beckham and she's Jennifer Lopez. And so it's like, we're never competing to fill the same slot.
Right.
So I think that's, not to say it can't exist without it, but I think that's paramount.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Two people can't be trying to be the same person. It'll create resentment. Okay, so we watched Brave.
Yeah.
It's a movie that you really like, correct?
I do, yes.
And you've wanted me to watch it for a while, and you thought...
Well, it's like 7 years old.
Yeah, you thought that Mother's Day would be a good reason to do it.
Yeah.
And I get that logic. There's a slight elephant in the room, and it's that it feels like I don't ever like the movies that you want me to watch, but you almost always like the movies I want you to watch. And so I want to go into this defending myself a little bit.
Okay.
By saying that there have been plenty of movies that you made me watch that I liked. Like I liked Wreck-It Ralph, and I liked Blast from the Past, which that episode has not come out yet.
True.
And there's
that movie's so good.
And there's a handful of TV shows that I certainly liked parts of. I mean, we were watching, Pretty Little Liars, which I liked for 4 seasons.
Vampire Diaries, stuff like that.
Yeah, but with those I sort of petered out. But
so did I. I didn't finish either one of those shows.
It's definitely not something that I try to do, but I will say that a lot of times these were movies that I was aware of and just never saw because they just didn't interest me.
Uh-huh.
But I found this movie weird. I found it very weird.
I need you to expand on that, because I don't know what you mean by weird.
Well, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to explain the stuff that you liked? Like, do you have anything that you want to say that isn't, like, defensive or rebutting me or something? Because I can explain things that I thought was odd. But...
There's a lot of things I like about it. I like, it's one of the first Pixar movies that had a female director. She still had a male babysitter, but whatever.
Are those her words? Or are you?
No, those are my words. Because Disney and Pixar have all had female directors to this point, but they have always had a man with them.
Okay.
And it kind of chafes a little. I think that's not necessary. But she also wrote it, and it was like semi-autobiographical, like the relationship part, not
the bear part.
Not the bear part, obviously.
Well, that's a question I was going to ask, is if it was based on any pre-existing source material?
It is based on a story called The Legend of Mordu, that part, the like evil bear part.
Okay.
But not the whole thing, I don't think.
Okay.
I also think for Mother's Day, maybe we can find a movie, maybe pair this with a movie about a mother and son and do both, because this is very, I guess it probably resonates with me a lot because it reminds me of my mom.
Yeah, and I remember you saying that.
Yeah, it makes me, and especially, since I'm sure people who are normal listeners, my mom passed away 5 years ago. And
has it been that long? Oh my God.
Yeah, 2014.
Oh my God. Wow.
And so it's like, I saw it obviously before she died, but after she died, it's one of those things that's sort of taken on a new, like, level of emotion for me. And them, like, the fact that Merida and Eleanor don't hear each other, basically, it like resonates. I don't know. I think it's really great. And I think it's such a good message for daughters and mothers about like listening to each other.
Okay, I like that. I like how you phrased it, because in the movie they're constantly saying, listen to me. And I'm like, okay, fine, listen. But for you to phrase it that they don't hear each other, that I can kind of get a little bit more.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's just beautiful to look at. And I think Scottish crap is fascinating. So I like all of that.
And that's a weird blind spot for me.
Scottish stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. You know what I mean? I'm just sort of like...
Because you also don't love Outlander. That's another thing I've showed you that you don't love.
Actually, it was so funny when this was ending, we watched it on the Stars app, and it like started to play Outlander, and you were like, "Ugh, Stars, I do not." You were like, "I get it, but I do not want to watch Outlander now."
Not right now.
I was like, "Oh, it was kind of making me want to watch Outlander," but I found it very strange. I remember, first of all, I did want to say that the animation was beautiful. I was sort of prepared to be, back. I was thinking more of the first How to Train Your Dragons.
Okay.
And because that was 2010 and this was 2012.
Yeah, but this was Pixar.
Yeah, it was. That is very, yeah. And also because Tangled was 2010 and that's a masterpiece. So it was beautiful. In particular, frankly, I thought Eleanor, I liked her better than Merida. Do you remember when I thought her name was Meridia for like 5 years?
Yes.
That's so unlike me.
No, I agree though. I think Eleanor is really beautiful and very regal and, queenly and everything.
So pretty with all the weird like glittery fiber woven through it. Like,
well, evidently they created like 3 new softwares for this movie, one of which dealt only with Merida's hair, which is like 1,500 strands of hair. And then another one for the tapestry, which I assume goes into the dress as well. But the tapestry, they created a program that like allowed them to create billions of threads.
Good
like
Lord.
Billions of fibers that go into that tapestry. And I was like, that's fucking intense.
Yeah, I loved her hair. I loved her dress. The animation in particular in the scene with Merida with the bow and arrow when she's like fighting for her own hand.
Yeah.
I found the movie, it didn't feel like a Disney movie to me.
It's not. I mean, it technically is, but it was like one of the first ones that came out after Disney bought Pixar.
Yeah.
So, but this is a Pixar movie, which why I was pretty sure you weren't going to love it.
That's another thing, is because it's like, I also have this slight blind spot for Pixar where it's like, I can admit that they are excellent movies and I have enjoyed every single one of them, but most of them don't live inside my heart the way that they do for so many people. I'm just sort of like, meh, that was good. And then I'm like, oh, and then I'm done.
No, they all live inside my heart.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm done. The ones that like when I was a child, I loved the first Toy Story. Andrew and I weirdly liked A Bug's Life, and I have not revisited.
A Bug's Life is great.
Is it? Okay, I thought it was kind of the redheaded stepchild, but...
I mean, it kind of is, but it's only because the bugs look a little too shiny. They're like... they the toys look a little too shiny in the first Toy Story.
Yeah.
They didn't have that kind of rendering capabilities back then.
And I love Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
And Inside Out.
Inside Out is my favorite.
I think that's really it. And again, I enjoyed WALL-E, but I was like, also, I was fine. I never really cared for Up. That was one that just didn't resonate with me all that much.
Up is it. Up is the business.
I mean, it's a good movie. I'm not trying to take it away from anybody, but it's just like, with the exception of the ones that I named, all the rest of the Pixar movies, I'm just very kind of like, oh, that's nice. Okay. I'm like good.
We should watch Ratatouille.
That's my least favorite one.
Oh no, it's so good.
I remember so little about it. I remember the French couple fighting and thinking that was really funny.
Oh yeah.
they're like, I think they're like hitting each other and then making out passionately and then like hitting each other. It's like really funny, but so yeah, I think Ratatouille is my least favorite. Also, I think it sounds disgusting. I don't want it.
The food?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like Ratatouille itself, I don't want it.
It's just like a vegetable bake.
Yeah, it's like vegetables and like tomato sauce, and I'm like, eh.
I'm gonna make it.
They don't even put cheese on it. I'm like, There's no point. So anyways, okay. Yeah, the whole thing was really frantic. It was really in a way that I kind of felt assaulted. I was like, oh God, like things were happening.
Just like how quickly everything happened?
Well, and the action around it, like the characters were all like dialed to 10.
Okay.
and the jokes, some of the jokes. It also felt like, and I don't have a specific thing in mind, but it felt just a hair cruder than most Disney.
A little, yeah. I think that, again, comes in with the Pixar half of it.
But if you want to get right down to it, I didn't think it made any sense. I didn't understand it. I got there with, what was his name, Mordu. I got there, obviously, when the movie, like, got there, but at the beginning, I was like, well, first of all, he's a bear. And I was like, second of all, take all the arrows out of his back. He might not be as mean. And then I didn't understand the Will-O-the-Wisp because I didn't understand the witch. I didn't understand the bear in general, the whole bear thing in general. And it was like, I don't understand the title. I don't understand.
Evidently, it was called something. It was called like The Bear and the Bow originally.
Okay.
Well, she has the one line where she says you have to be brave enough to choose your fate.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But okay.
But I mean, did she? Like, I didn't think any of it made sense. She followed the Will-O-the-Wisp because she thought it would lead her to her fate.
Well, she thought it would lead her somewhere that could get her mother to change her mind so she could choose her own fate. But the Will-O-the-Wisp is like a Scottish, like, fairy story.
Mm-hmm. And I felt robbed of fairies.
Oh, I think they're so cute, the little wisps.
I mean, they were cute, but I don't understand why they led her to a witch that, like, intentionally misled her. But
I don't know. Why did Ariel go to Ursula, who misled her?
Well, Ursula was evil. She had like a vendetta against King Triton. So it was like a Shakespearean type thing. And also Ursula, I mean, you could tell by looking at her. And so this witch was kind of like, she was more of a Sleeping Beauty fairy than...
I mean, she's a little darker than that.
Also, and I will say, you're gonna blame... Okay, what I'm about to say, you're gonna blame all of my issues entirely on this. But this was a plot line, a just as baffling plot line, on the 5th season of Once Upon a Time.
I mean...
And I saw that, and I didn't think it made any sense.
I get that it's weird. I can agree with you that it's weird, but like, I just love the whole message of it so much.
Well, and that's the thing, because I was like, I definitely don't. I'm not trying to put you on trial on it's like the Mother's Day episode with something that makes you feel closer to your dead mother. So it's like, I don't know. I was like, this is going to be such a weird episode.
You are definitely on the losing side of this.
I was just having I was kind of dazed watching it because I don't understand where the bear thing came into play. I don't understand how it made them understand each other.
The bear thing came into play because of Mordu. That's like a thing that exists in the world of this movie, is that people can be turned into bears.
Mm-hmm. It was still, okay.
And then everything in the witch's cottage was bears.
Yeah. So, like, did she unleash this curse on this world? Like, because also people on the internet think she's Bo from Monsters, Inc. And
the who?
The witch.
Oh.
There's like a weird connection. It's like one of those things where people are like making something a shared universe that doesn't need to be. And
yeah, no.
It's like Boo grows up to be the witch.
No, I don't care for that.
There's time travel at one point.
Hard pass. No. Aggressively no.
But no, I didn't understand why, like, hunting for fish, like fishing, helped them understand each other.
Well, because it showed Eleanor that Merida is, like, self-sufficient in a way, and so she's, like, learning something from her daughter, who she thinks needs to learn everything from her.
Oh.
It's like a role reversal.
Okay.
So she, like, sees her, and she learns something from her, and she realizes that her daughter is a human person with her own desires.
Okay, that was not clear to me.
Oh. Well, again, you are not a daughter. And I think that things like that do matter. Like, that reading the movie from that perspective is a significant shift from how someone who's not a daughter would react to the movie. I can see how the movie's just weird if you don't have a mother-daughter relationship.
I mean,
but
I have
it
a
was
relationship with my mother.
you don't have the same relationship with your mother.
Relationship.
It's not a mother-daughter. That's the thing. It's like it's not. I could explain it until I'm blue in the face. It's like explaining childbirth. You could explain it till you're blue in the face, but you could never understand it completely because you can't live it. And I think that's what I like so much about it. Is it just is. I mean,
didn't the reviews say something about it being kind of weirdly specifically for mothers and daughters?
I'm sure, yeah. That's why I thought of it for Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I just feel like
not Braveheart, Rotten Tomatoes.
What?
I'm looking it up on Rotten Tomatoes, and it took me to Braveheart.
Oh, no, definitely not. Father's Day, maybe. Probably not.
I thought I remembered the consensus saying something about like very special for mothers and daughters. Others might not get it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I just, for me, it's because like my mom was never quite like Eleanor. It wasn't like you have to be the perfect princess. It wasn't like that. But there's a lot of that, like, you don't understand things from my perspective. Just because you used to be young doesn't mean you're young now, and things are different, and you don't know what's going on in my head, and I don't know what's going on in your head. And instead of just talking, you know, especially in my family, you get into like a passive aggressive bitch off instead, and then you like don't accomplish anything. And so it's like having the one thing change in order for them to see each other's perspectives is like.
So what did Merida learn from Bear Eleanor?
That she has to. Well, that's when she's giving her speech when they get back to the castle and she's trying to distract the lords. What she learned is how to actually have the bearing of a princess and like do what she needs to do when she needs to do it.
That's I feel like I needed a few more things because I also thought the 2 days was weird. Typically it's 3.
3, yeah. I do agree with that, and I do agree that I think they could have pointed more arrows at the things you were supposed to know.
Mm-hmm. I also found her father. He was funny, but he was also frustrating, especially because of his like obsession with the bear, which I get it. I understand, especially with Mordu.
Yeah.
But on like more than one occasion, he's like in the castle looking for a bear. And it's actually, it's said in the movie, but I'm just like, how did the bear get in there? I mean, he like, there's a scene where he like opens the door and Merida is like in the room with an anthropomorphic bear. So presumably something was happening before he opened that door. And it's just sort of like, he's like, Merida, look out, there's a bear. And I was like, I think she was aware of that.
She probably knows the bear is there. No, I get it. I definitely get it.
And so like all that stuff, it was kind of taking me out. And the thing with the little brothers, it's like, again, I understand logically how that happened, but there was such deeper meaning with the stuff with her mother that then the brothers felt like a weird lost plot point for me.
Oh, like when they ate the cake?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I found it odd. I found the witch. Like I said, I know she said she went to some festival until the spring.
The Wicker Man Festival.
Right. Yeah. That was on TV the other day and I taped it.
I saw it on the DVR.
Yeah. I've never seen it. All I know is that Nicolas Cage like drop kicks Lily Sobieski.
And then his face gets trapped in a cage of bees.
Yeah, careful they'll get in your eyes and drink your tears. Is that common knowledge? Is that a thing?
That woman who had the bees in her? Yeah. No, I'm not sure if it's common knowledge.
We could do Wicker Man for the second part of Mother's Day.
I'm not sure about that. Silent Hill, on the other hand.
I've never re-seen that since the first time.
Me neither.
So yeah, I just I found it. To me, it felt half-baked, but
I just think it could have probably used like maybe 15 more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But
my mom really liked it too.
I still love it.
I remember her telling me that it was super good and stuff. So maybe you're right. I mean, maybe it is a very distinctly feminine thing.
Yeah, I just feel like it is very specifically coded for like mothers and daughters, and I think it's hard to break into something like that. Where like honestly, mother and son movies might not do it for me. You know what I mean? Like,
is that a thing?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't know. I just really, it's one of my favorite Pixar movies. It like never fails to make me cry, and it's just nice. I think it's I think it's cute, and I think it's nice. It's definitely not for everybody, but I like it.
We were watching it with the captions, and
Which was helpful. I left them on for you.
yeah, because I don't do accents well, like Scottish especially.
And Scottish is a lot.
Because there's that one character where that's the joke.
Yeah.
But they kept saying "och," like OCH, but my brain kept reading it as "ouch."
Oh.
And so that was taking me out, where I was like, why are they starting every sentence with the word "ouch"?
Well, pulling this back around to Outlander, in the books, Claire calls it the Scottish noise. That's just what she's, every time he says it, she's like, he replied with a Scottish noise, and I think it's always funny.
So, yeah, okay, well.
That was brave.
Is there anything else that you wanted to say about those movies?
No, I don't think so. I think they're both, pretty good. I think they're both, I like Brave a lot more than you did.
I might watch it again. Yeah,
and I think we liked Dumplin about the same. But yeah, I think they're both really good for Mother's Day. We hope that everybody has a happy Mother's Day. If you are moms or you're with your mom, that's always fun. Or if you're just going to have brunch.
Is there a genre? Is like Mommy's Boy? Is that like a genre of movies?
Should we just do the
Arrested Development?
Yeah, should we throw that in there real quick?
Mother
watch
Boy?
All the Mother Boy episodes.
Because both of these were daughters. It was daughters and mothers, and I think it's a more complicated relationship.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, all right. Well, everybody have a happy Mother's Day. As always, you can find us on Twitter @SoI'mWatching, Instagram @SoI'mWatchingThis show. We are also on Facebook and Tumblr, So I'm Watching This Show. I can guarantee you there's going to be about 40,000 Dolly Parton songs on the Spotify playlist. So I'm Watching This Show, the music. And other than that, we're also on YouTube now, so check us out on YouTube and go subscribe. And everything links out from our website, soimwatching.com. And other than that, just please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen.